Today's guest gives back to her community, and the result is huge. She even has her photos on beer cans. But until a couple of years ago, she was shooting too much for too little, and so she engaged a business coach to help her increase her annual profit. As part of that process, she was encouraged to dig deep into her why, and what she discovered led her to implementing an incredibly beautiful and profitable project. I'm talking about Emily Allen, who has increased her average sale fourfold by following the advice of Karinda K. We discussed all that mostly in the members' half of this interview, but in the first half, among other things, you'll hear how and why Emily made the move into a shared studio space and how she keeps paying rent year round even though she doesn't go there in summer. As you can tell, we covered a lot in this interview, so no matter what stage of your business you're in, there's sure to be a takeaway for you. If you aren't yet a club member, this episode alone is absolutely worth the fee. But of course, you'll also gain access to all the extra content that is not included with membership, like the blog planner, a guide for how to implement virtual IPS, a recording of a real 5K sale, and a bunch more. Details are at thepetphotographersclub.com, so just head on over and have a look.
Welcome to the Pet Photographers Club. Tune in as experts share their insights to help grow your business with higher sales, creative marketing, and kick-ass business strategies. Now on to the show.
Hello and welcome back to Season 17, Episode 7 of the Pet Photographers Club. I'm your host, Kirsty McConnell, and today I'm chatting with Emily Allen. And welcome to the club, Emily.
Hi, thanks for having me.
So nice to have you here. I just stumbled then because I was like, oh gosh, I need the business name of Emily, which is Tailor Made Dog and Pet Photography.
Yes, yeah.
Sorry about that. Can you just fill in for the listeners who don't know you yet, Emily, where you're based in the world and what it is that you are offering to pet parents?
Sure. I am in Buffalo, New York in the United States. It is about 8 hours from New York City. I know everybody, as soon as I say New York, they always think the city, but very far from. I live in a little country town with my 3 dogs and husband, 2 boys, 2 sons. And I specialize in pets, mainly dogs and horses. I'm more of a lifestyle photographer. I like to capture the candid moments, a little bit of posed here and there, but I just wait for the organic moments to happen. And that's what I gravitate towards.
Okay, nice. So, all right, for people who aren't really familiar with your area, give us a bit of a picture of how it is because, like you said, it's not New York City. First of all, is that where you grew up?
Yes, yep. I've been just outside. I'm about 30 minutes from Buffalo and about 30 minutes from Niagara Falls. So yeah, we've got quite the variety here. Like I said, it's 30 minutes from Buffalo, so you can get that city look in some pictures, which people some do. But then we have the hills. I'm not too far from the Adirondacks, which is about 4 hours away. So you've got some hills, mountainous terrain. I live close to Letchworth State Park, which is known as the Grand Canyon of the East. That's about an hour from me. So I have a variety of different things as well as the snow in the winter.
Nice. It sounds like so many different backdrops that you can offer there.
Yeah.
So
yes.
You are shooting both on location and in studio, right?
Yes. I have a studio about 10 minutes from my house. And it works out great. The photographer I share my studio with focuses on families, newborns, boudoir. And when she was looking for someone, it was about 4 or 5 years ago, she was looking for someone that didn't do the same thing as she did. So when I said I photograph pets, it was just perfect. And we get along great. Our sets, our interests and styles are very similar. So we design different lifestyle sets in the studio and it works for both of us. And it's just a match made in heaven, so to speak, for a partner.
Amazing. So you've been there for quite a few years then. This wasn't on my list of topics, but I think we have to dive into this a little bit because I imagine there are lots of listeners thinking I've been dreaming about opening a studio, but it can be really expensive to have a commercial space. I don't have space in my home to do something at home. Mm-hmm. It sounds like you've found kind of the middle road of those options, I suppose, in sharing with somebody else. So walk us through what was your thought process before you took on that responsibility?
I had a studio I had 2 rooms in my house, which we considered living rooms. So we turned one of those into the studio and it was a small space, but it worked at the time. And then I met this other photographer, Amanda, Seventh Arrow Studios, and she was looking for a partner. And she kept mentioning it. I hadn't seen any pictures or anything. And then one day there was a foster puppy that needed photos done, but it was raining or snowing. The weather outside was not ideal. So I reached out to her and I said, "Hey, I'm in the area of your studio. Can I pop in real quick and do a session with the dog?" And she said, "Yeah, no problem." And I got in there and it was this beautiful warehouse, open industrial space. And I was like, what was I doing? Why didn't I ask to see pictures of this space? It was picture perfect. It was amazing. So I was like, yes, are you still looking for a partner? I will do this right now. And that's where it all started.
Wow, amazing. So it's really the inspiration of the space that drew you in.
Yes. Yes.
And so was there like some financial kind of elaboration to take into consideration to work out if it was worth it or not? Or were you at the point already of feeling like, I just need to get out of my home? And so you didn't really care that it was an extra cost for the business?
No, I was making it work in my home, but I knew that I could really step it up a notch in this studio with what she was doing already, which was what I was already doing, which is the lifestyle. We have scenes set up in the studio. It's natural light. We also have a side where we do some studio lights. So that's where I do my tree toss pictures, but it's 99% natural light. And I knew that I could really up my game in her studio. And so at that point, and I knew that we were going to be splitting the rent. So that played a huge role as well with it being more affordable. So yeah, it was a no-brainer at that time. I just couldn't wait to get in there.
So it wasn't just like an envy of the beautiful studio, but you also knew, like, you thought it through from a business point of view that it would absolutely be worth it.
Yes, especially in the winter months, because here you never know. It's Buffalo. We could be in the 60s one day and then a complete blizzard tomorrow and nobody can drive anywhere, or it's too cold and windy to shoot outside. So having that backup option is great. And now in the wintertime, I only do a handful of sessions outside and it's mainly in the studio. And then in the summer, I'm in the studio once or twice. I haven't been in there in quite a while, since probably April, but now it's picking back up.
So that's interesting. Even though you're not using it much in the summer, you're still paying equal rent, I imagine, right?
Yep. Yes. Yes.
Okay. And so have you just done the numbers and worked out that that's worth it because across the year it balances out?
Yes, absolutely. I wouldn't give it up. And it's nice because if we do, like I said, if there's somebody has family coming in from out of town, they're bringing their dogs, they organized everything to line up perfectly for one day, and then it's raining outside, we still have the option of going into the studio. So it's nice to have the backup too.
Absolutely. How do your clients respond to that idea? If they had in their head already they were doing an outdoor shoot and then suddenly it becomes a studio shoot, is that a difficult thing for you to manage with in terms of their expectations? Or do you find that it's kind of the last thing that crosses their mind?
I feel like I'm extremely lucky when it comes to my clients because most of them trust the process. They hand me the reins. And if they think that, they're coming into this already trusting me and my expertise. So if I make a suggestion, typically they're pretty on board. However, if somebody's hesitant or, they're more adamant about being outside, I don't have any problem with rescheduling due to rain or weather. I leave room in my schedule to accommodate things such as reschedules, as well as those end of life sessions where you never know, when you're going to get a diagnosis or your pet becomes ill where they need to be fit in right away. So I try to be as accommodating as possible for people. But like I said, I'm very lucky, I think, I have amazing clients.
So your clients, are they typically in that radius? Like I think you said you're half an hour to one direction, half an hour the other. So is that typically like your 1 hour radius is where your clients are coming from, or is it more specific than that or wider than that?
I actually have a lot of people come from all over. I've had people come from Pennsylvania, which from me, it's about an hour and a half to the New York, Pennsylvania border. But I've had people come from all over in Pennsylvania, Rochester, which is about a little over an hour from me, even beyond Rochester, Canada, which I'm only 30 minutes from the border in Canada. And I also travel to all of these places too. So I have a pretty wide open span of where people come to see me from. I've had someone come from New York City, different states. They'll find me from out of state. And I forgot what the saying is, but it's like 1 degree of separation or 7 degrees of separation. I may be way off in that, but it feels like if you mention that you're from Buffalo, no matter where you are in the United States, somebody knows somebody from Buffalo or they were from Buffalo. So there's a little sprinkle. It's like you plant little seeds everywhere, and then someone finds out about you. And when they're back home in Buffalo, they reach out and say, hey, I'm going to be in Buffalo. I'd love to schedule a session.
And so are a lot of your clients or majority of your clients coming to you through word of mouth, or is it a diverse range of marketing strategies?
I would say they saw someone that had their photos taken by me and it was shared on social media or through events. I go to a lot of dog related events around Buffalo, and I work with a lot of the local rescues and shelters, whether it's for calendars, different fundraising. I did one. I think this was the 4th year that I've done it, where there was a contest run for a fundraiser, and the winner, both the cat and dog, got their photos on a beer can for one of our local breweries called Resurgence. So we do that, and it raises a lot of money. And then they have a beer can reveal party where it's an even bigger fundraiser, raises more money. So that's another thing. And people see me and my face there, and I always make sure to wear my branded shirts, hand out photo business cards. Another thing that I've done is a ball pit. I bring a ball pit to different events, and dogs can get into the ball pit, and I'll either do treat toss in the ball pit or I'll throw the balls at them. So it looks like they're coming at the camera, just like treat toss. So it brings color to the photos. A lot of people love that. So a lot of times I hear, oh, I met you at this event, or you photographed my dog doing the ball pit, or, you were walking around taking candid shots and you captured one of my dog. And a lot of people come from those types of things.
Okay, nice. So you're kind of making sure that you're everywhere, and wherever you are, you're memorable.
Yeah, definitely. And I try to make it different and unique. I like having fun with things. I like to stand out so people remember. And the ball pit, especially, that definitely stands out.
Imagine.
And I like to do funny stuff too.
Sorry, you ran over quite quickly this thing about the beer can. Can you break that down a little bit for us? Like, are you involved in the actual image that's going on the beer can, or is it an event? Just talk us through that.
So the first year, I thought that I was involved in the design portion of the beer can. So I made some really, really neat designs, submitted them to them, and they actually used them on the beer can. And then the following years, I had noticed in their advertising leading up to it that they were using pictures of animals where they were more or less cutting them out and taking out the background. So I just provide them with the gallery, and they design the cans, and they make the special brew for the cans. So Essie's Summer Ale is one with the dog on it, and it's kind of like a comic book theme. And then Tarzan's Session or Saison IPA, and this little kitty was missing an eye. So it's really cool.
This is so cute.
Yeah.
Do you have a photo of those cans or a link or something that I can put in the show notes? Because obviously the listener can't see what you just showed me, which is disappointing because it was so fun.
Yes.
So, okay, great. We'll put something in the show notes, guys. So go and check it out because it's really fun. I love that.
Yeah, that's fun.
And so is your name anywhere like on the actual can, or like, I don't know, in relationship to it somehow?
Yep, my name is on the can there. And then every time they advertise, I'm one of the sponsors as well. So my name's on the sponsor paperwork and advertisements and all of that. Yeah, it's fun.
Amazing. How well known is that brewery? Is it like the beer is just sold locally, or it's widely spread?
It's pretty well known. Yeah.
Cool.
It's one of the main breweries around here. If somebody says, where can I take my family that's coming in from out of town? Resurgence.
Oh, this is so fun. How did you get involved in that in the first place?
Actually, when I first started moving into pet photography, it was 2018, 2019-ish. Actually, I think this specifically was 2019. An acquaintance, I hadn't really known or met her yet, Kimberly LaRussa. She runs a lot of local pet-related fundraisers, and she does a lot for the pet community around here. She had reached out to me and asked if she could use one of the photos that I took at a wolf sanctuary that's about 3 hours east of where I live. And she started kind of sharing my work. And when I would work with different shelters and rescues, she would share, because I'm very into storytelling. Whenever I post something, I try to tell a story with it. So she was sharing some of these things to get to push that pet's picture out. And now we've become good friends, and it went from her asking, hey, can you be involved in this calendar, or will you come and do this with me and help me with this, to now she says, I have this on this date, you're coming. This is, you don't have a choice. So we work together a lot, and she just, I love that she assumes that I'm going to help, because that's the impression that I've left on her. And yeah, we do a lot of fun things together.
Nice. It sounds like you get involved in the community and in the events and everything, and you're giving back a lot. And because of that, you're getting a lot in return. Is that an accurate kind of summary?
Yes. It makes me feel good too, because when I first started, like most, I was digital files. I was just charging a smaller amount, digital files. I wasn't really, I wasn't living up to my potential as far as what I knew I was worth. And then I did switch to IPS, and that price change scared me, like most. And so being able to do things like this with the money that I'm now making, being able to in turn turn around and either, whether it's monetary donations or taking time and money and gas and whatever it is to go here and there and promote this and help fundraise with that, it kind of helps me also validate my pricing now. So it just feels good to be able to use that towards still helping. It's not just money, all mine. I like to also give it back.
Mm-hmm, absolutely. And I do want to actually talk to you more about kind of your transition from going to kind of the low end pricing points to where you're at today and the different structure of your business and everything. I want to talk about that. I'm going to save that for the members. I also want to talk to you more about storytelling, which you've mentioned a couple of times, because I know you're doing this, or you have at least in the past done this Adult Life, a Woman's Story project, which looks quite incredible. But again, I'm going to save that for the members, along with a couple of other things as well. So what we're going to do is wrap up part one now. Before we do that, though, where should the listener go to find out more about what it is that you offer?
So I have my website. It's tmphotos.com. It has 2 P's in it. So tmphotos.com. I'm also on Instagram and Facebook. Facebook is TaylorMade Pet, Dog, and Pet Photography. There's so many different names that I have that I need to.
We'll put the link in the show notes. Don't worry.
Yes. And I just became, what is that little blue? Verified. I became verified. So I had to change the names to make the match and everything. And now I'm still freshly trying to remember what my handles are. So yes, we'll include them in the notes.
What a drama.
Yes.
Well, don't worry. I will put the links to everywhere that you are, Emily, in the show notes and the other, of course, notes that I took as well. So guys, just head on over to thepetphotographersclub.com/the-podcast. You can search Emily or TaylorMade, which is with a Y, and this episode will come up. That's it for part one of the episode. If you're a member of the club, you can continue listening to part 2 in the member zone or via your private RSS feed in your favorite podcast player. Don't forget, if you're not a member yet, you can join today. It is just $18 a month or $120 a year. It includes tons and tons of perks these days. So just head on over to thepetphotographersclub.com to find out more.
Thanks for listening to the Pet Photographers Club. To subscribe to the podcast, check out other episodes, and keep up to date, head to thepetphotographersclub.com.